Hi everyone, so I am going to do a tag video. I was tagged by Book Chat with Pat. I will link her channel down below so you can go watch her video as well. And I believe this was created by Aaron Reads or Read a Book. And I will link his down as well. I'm going back and watching some of the tag videos for this, so I'm late on doing this tag because Pat tagged me, I think, at least a couple months ago. So very sorry, things have just been hectic. I'm kind of behind on my channel, so I figured I'd started up my videos again with a tag. So this is a Hounds of Love tag, which is based on the Kate Bush album Hounds of Love. Um, I haven't listened to too much of her music, but I have liked what I've heard. I know a lot of people who have found her music like after she's been um, popular in her time and everything have mostly been from Stranger Things. But I had heard some of her stuff before because I enjoy the music of Tori Amos, and it seems that Tori is compared to her quite a bit sometimes, depending on, who you're talking to. So I'm going to have to go back and listen to some more of these. But as for the tag, it's bookish things to go with this. So, number one is Running Up That Hill, A Deal with God. A book mentioned by a character in TV or film. Um, I feel that the ones I remember are sadly books I have not read yet. Um, some I want to get to, some are, but I do remember Matilda mentioning Moby Dick in the movie Matilda, and Eric Cartman from South Park mentioning, well, not just him, but the class itself, Catcher in the Rye. They were reading that book. Number two, Hounds of Love, a book featuring a four-legged friend. Um, I know I've read a book with a dog in it before, or something along those lines. And I'm just drawing a blank right now. Okay, so technically not like a pet or anything, but I'm going to count Marigold from the Phoebe and Her Unicorn series, because that is just an adorable series. And unicorns are horses with horns, so it's a four-legged creature. Number three, The Big Sky, a book with the sky on the cover. Um, hmm. There's one called Sun and Spoon that I read. Very beautiful cover. So it's got a kind of like a sky and a sun kind of thing. So I'm gonna go with that one. Or maybe The Fault in Our Stars, because that is kind of like a cloud kind of design. Alright, number four is Mother Stands for Comfort, a book with a parent-child relationship. I haven't read too many of these, honestly. Um, it always seems like the parent-child relationship is kind of sad. um, like the things that Cinder went through, or the relationship between Katniss and her mother in the Hunger Games. That's a pretty interesting, sad, and deep one, I would say. Cloud Busting, a book where psychology or psychoanalysis is important. Ah, I don't think I've read anything quite like that. But if we're talking about books that do mention mental health, I think that's what maybe psychology covers, I think, or at least some part of it. I'm not a big expert in those kind of things, so I think anything to do with issues of the mind and everything. One book that I have not finished, but I want to go back to is God, what is it called? Oh, My Sister Rosa. And that is about a guy, a kid, whatever, he's a teenager, who believes that his younger, like 10-year-old sister might be a psychopath. There's also Challenger Deep by Neil Shusterman that deals with mental health and kind of escaping into your own world. I really enjoyed that book. Alright, so part 2 is the Ninth Wave. I think I maybe cut out the first part, sorry. So, and number 6 is And Dream of Sheep, a book that sent you to sleep, or a book about sleep, or a book about sheep. I don't really have a book that, like, bored me enough to go to sleep, because, like, if I want to go to sleep, I'm not going to be reading something I'm not enjoying, so, reading can make you tired and everything, so I usually read stuff I enjoy, which is a lot of books, so, just books in general, I would say. I don't think that I've read one specifically about sleep or sheep. I don't think so. I mean, there's been books, especially like Goosebumps and stuff, where people have had bad dreams and stuff, but nothing that really sticks out. Number 7 is Under Ice, a winter book or a book that takes place underwater. Oh, I'm gonna go with Beware the Snowman, which is a Goosebumps book. It's one of my favorites. The premise is kind of ridiculous, but it does have a very atmospheric feel to it, and I love it. Number 8 is Waking the Witch, a book featuring witches or witch hunts. There's been so many witch books that I've wanted to read, and I just haven't yet. I mean, the book Strega Nana, it's a children's book, but that has a witch on it, or in it. Watching You Without Me, a nightmarish book. Ooh. That's a good question. I haven't read a lot of horror. I'm not really big into, like, gore and stuff, but I'm getting more into horror. But a nightmarish book, I would probably have to say Earthlings, and I can't think of the author's name, and I'd probably butcher it if I just said it off the top of my head, but that is something else. It deals with basically childhood abuse and how this person has coped with it and creating their own world and identity and stuff. It's well written, but pretty on the disturbing side, so I take caution reading it because it does mention some heavy stuff. Jig of Life, which is number 10, a hopeful book. That one's hard. What is a hopeful book? Because I always feel that so many of the things I read are pretty sad. I guess there are some books that have elements of hope in them, and I would say, maybe a book like Because of Winn-Dixie. I think that kind of has the hope of growing and moving on and, moving past things. Hello, Earth, a book not set on the planet Earth. So the one that I can think of for this one is Midworld, which another booktuber called Todd the Librarian mentioned as one of his favorite, if not his favorite book, and it sounded really interesting. It's been a while since I've read it, so I don't remember all the details, but I did like the book, and I think I got it. So I'm gonna have to reread it again, but basically it takes place on another planet, like called Midworld, I believe. That's why it's called that. And I think there's like animal plant hybrids and stuff. It's just like this whole different world. And like I said, it's been a while since I've read it, but I did enjoy it. And I'd only read it once, so I'm gonna have to read it again. The Morning Fog, a book about being rescued, or a book about fog, or a book that makes you happy to be alive. Or book dancing, or book 8 Butch. Okay. Um, huh. Being rescued. I don't know about any of those. Because, like, I've read The Hunger Games, I liked Hatchet, survival, stuff like that. And, I mean, they eventually get rescued, so maybe that kind of counts. There's a lot of books that make me happy to be alive. My books. The fact that, well, no, I haven't really made any money on them, but the fact that my books are up on places like Amazon, and if people want to get them, I get to share my thoughts and, my writing with other people. So, my last book was Life, Nature, and Other Whimsical Things. It's kind of like a chapbook, and I really enjoyed writing it. And it's the first time I put like nonfiction stuff into a book. It's basically like poetry and like little snippets of life things that I've written about. So 13 is tag others. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have done this by now. So if you're watching the channel and you haven't, I tag you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.